Hey, what's up, guys? So, Pokemon Go. It has definitely made its way across the world in, well, just a week now. It's been about a week since the game released, and it is quite possibly one of the biggest games that's ever been made. I honestly, until last week, had never played a Pokemon game in my life. Pokemon was a little bit after my time. I was out of high school when Pokemon really made its debut. I was introduced to it when I was working at Blockbuster, and this strange-looking movie called I Choose You Pikachu came in, and I had to prep it up, and I was wondering, what the heck is this? I didn't really know much about anime or anything altogether. But anyways, Pokemon Go has swept the world by storm. It has increased Nintendo's stocks by something like 30%, I hear. It's been insane. Basically, what I want to talk about is how Pokemon Go could possibly be one of the greatest games that has ever come out. Most of you are familiar with all those memes on the internet that show how our society is turning into a bunch of mindless zombies who do nothing but sit around and play games with phones. And of course, there's always been the argument that people are getting fat because of hours and hours of playing games and being inactive. What's so great about this game is it takes those problems that games have created, and this game uses those problems to remedy the problem and become the solution. So what are the upsides? Number one, exercise. You need to either be on foot or on bike to really experience this game in the fullest. After you reach a certain speed, for example, driving in your car, it's not going to track your steps, so you can't cheat by driving down the freeway and racking up tons of kilometers. They've worked around that. You need to be doing something active. You need to be on a bike or you need to be walking. So you will get your exercise in while playing this game, and for some of you pasty-faced people, you're going to get some sun as well. Number two, social interaction. You're not only getting out of your house and walking around, but you're meeting up with fellow players everywhere you go. I've met up with all kinds of different people of all ages, all different types of people at a lot of the stops and at the gyms. And I've started small talk conversations with these people I normally probably wouldn't talk with. One, they're just not people I'd hang out with. And two, it probably would be creepy in any other instance, having, some guy in his late 30s talking to an 8-year-old kid. But here it's perfectly okay, and these kids are super excited about everything they're picking up. So yeah, I mean, that is something that is definitely great, is just people being able to, get out and about and do things. Number three, getting to know your local community. It breaks you out of your comfort zone. You don't just leave your house, but you leave your neighborhood and you go just look around your town. I mean, I've been finding all kinds of weird things just in my local area that I didn't know they were there. I live on the north outskirts of the Twin Cities suburbs, so it's, there's not super exciting things, but I don't know, I found a historic landmark that is, it's an old gas pump museum. Yes, I know it's not terribly exciting, but it's something I never would have found that or known that was there. It's right next to the fire station up in the Blaine Circle Pines area. Yeah, not exactly an exciting discovery, but I wouldn't have known it was there had it not been for this game. Number four, small business exposure. For those of you that don't know, I'm a co-owner of a game shop in White Bear. It happens to be a Pokemon gym, and it definitely has given some exposure just in people walking in through the door, and just web traffic and interaction I've seen go up since this game released a week ago, which is nice, and we didn't have to pay a thing. This just happened. I mean, that was great. So yeah, I mean, that can potentially really help small businesses just kind of get their name out there if more of them show up as stops. There's a dance studio just a couple units down from where our store is, and they're a stop. We're a gym. It's a great way just to get people to say, hey, this place is here, and I really, I appreciate that's a thing. And I really think it can definitely draw people in that would normally never be able to find you because, well, let's face it, advertising is expensive. So those are some of the upsides. Now, some of the downsides. Here's the big one right here. Number 1, driving hazards. So I've seen this article that's been getting shared about the 50 car pileup or whatever the heck it is. One article says it was on the East Coast. One article actually said it was here in the Twin Cities. It's the same picture. The story's not true. So if you see that coming up on your Facebook or Twitter feed, it's not a true story. Someone just wrote that. However, that doesn't mean it's not something that you should, pass off. Don't play this game while you're driving. Now, if you want to open your map and look for stops, that's one thing. It's about as dangerous as turning on Google Maps. But if you're sitting here trying to flip and catch Pokemon while you're driving, all it takes is just a few minutes of you dicking around on your phone, and then all of a sudden you've rear-ended somebody or something. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Number 2, addiction. You just need to prioritize, and people blaming the game for this. This is the whole story. Blaming everybody but yourself for stuff like this. You only have yourself to blame if you're losing your job over a freaking game. I mean, it's just prioritize. Some people just can't separate their responsibilities from fun time, and that's just something that'll always be. If it's not video games, it's just gambling or whatever. People just, sometimes that happens, and honestly, if it's not this game, it'll be something else. Number 3, unsafe locations. One of the big things, and there's been a lot of stories about this already coming out, is the game potentially leading you into unsafe locations. Now, this typically isn't the fault of the game. The game is obviously just laying out a map for you to go explore. But I got a couple stories that I've already found just from my friends on Facebook. One of them went up to Roseville City Hall, and he was walking around, playing around on his phone and everything, walking back and forth around City Hall. Apparently he was looking suspicious enough. He's a little bit younger than me, but older. He's not a kid. He had a bunch of cops basically corner him there and say, "What are you doing?" And of course he had to sit there and explain what Pokemon Go was to all these cops. And they pretty much just said, we're kind of in a spot. We just don't come around here. And he posted online, just don't do that. Don't go to City Hall. I've personally been kind of staying away from some of the big government buildings just because of what's been going on right now. People are paranoid. And that's something, that it can potentially lead you to. So I guess the game itself says, when you first load it up, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your surroundings. And that's just, the best advice that there is. Just think, don't do anything stupid, and, think about where you're going. Number 4, exposure to your sensitive and private information. The biggest downside, it's kind of tinfoil hatty, and honestly, there's been something going around. Sites like BuzzFeed and other sites like that have been, showing that yes, if you sign in with Google, they have full access to your Google account. They do have access to a lot of things. It's kind of up to you to decline certain permissions and everything, and whether it be on your Google account, which I know is a pain. But in all honesty, this isn't the first game that's done this. This isn't the first app that's done this. If you have a smartphone, you're giving ridiculous amounts of people access to things already. So the best way to avoid this, don't have a smartphone, don't go on the internet. I mean, Pokemon is not the first, it won't be the last. The people that post this stuff about Pokemon being able to look at everything, they're posting this on Facebook. Facebook has the most ridiculous record of all kinds of questionable privacy things. So if you're on Facebook and you're comfortable with that, you probably should be comfortable with Pokemon Go. If you're not, honestly, just don't go online. Those are my thoughts on this game, and it's definitely something special that I haven't seen come out before. If you think there is anything that I missed or something that I need to cover more deeply, please leave it in the comment section, and I will definitely answer your questions and respond to any of your critiques. And for now, get out there, have fun, catch those Pokemon, and meet some new people.